My name is Madison Foster, and I'm 32 years old. Have you ever walked into a bank just to withdraw $99? Have you ever had the bank manager call you a beggar and order security to throw you out? Now imagine that manager is your own sister. That's exactly what happened to me last Tuesday at Prosperity Financial. My sister Victoria looked at my worn jeans and faded t-shirt, then announced to 30 customers, "We don't serve beggars here. Security, remove her." But Victoria didn't know our billionaire father had died 3 days earlier, leaving me his entire fortune. 20 minutes after she threw me out, I walked back in with lawyers carrying proof that I owned 68% of the bank, worth $2.8 billion. And this time, guess who ended up begging? If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Here's exactly what happened. The Prosperity Financial branch downtown was absolutely packed that Tuesday morning. I counted at least 30 customers waiting in various lines, some sitting in the leather chairs near the investment desk, others standing by the teller windows. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, making everything look deceptively peaceful. Victoria was in her element. I could see her through the glass walls of the conference room, gesturing animatedly to what looked like VIP clients. Her perfectly styled blonde hair caught the light as she laughed at something one of them said. She wore her favorite navy Armani suit, the one she'd bragged cost more than my monthly rent. I'd been standing in line for 20 minutes already. The elderly man in front of me was having trouble with his hearing aid, and the teller was practically shouting his account balance. Behind me, a mother tried to keep her twin toddlers from running around while she juggled paperwork. The bank smelled like leather and that aggressive air freshener they always use, pine forest or mountain breeze or something equally artificial. Classical music played softly through hidden speakers, occasionally interrupted by the electronic voice calling out queue numbers. "Next please, window 3, the automated system announced. I shifted my worn canvas bag on my shoulder and checked my phone. 11:47 a.m. The pharmacy closed at 6. Mom needed her heart medication today, not next week when my replacement ATM card would arrive. That's the only reason I was here, in Victoria's kingdom, about to ask for something as simple as accessing my own money. A security camera in the corner blinked its red light at me. I wondered if Victoria ever reviewed the footage. Probably not. She had people for that. I caught my reflection in the polished marble pillar and winced. My jeans had a small tear near the knee, not the fashionable kind, but the "I've had these for 5 years" kind. My faded graphic design conference t-shirt from 2019 had seen better days. I hadn't even bothered with makeup this morning. The contrast with everyone else was painful. The woman next to me wore a crisp white blouse and designer heels that clicked authoritatively on the marble floor. The man behind her had a Rolex that probably cost more than my car. Even the college kid by the ATM was wearing brand name everything. A teller I didn't recognize glanced at me, then quickly looked away. I saw that look. The quick assessment, the dismissal. Not worth the commission. Not worth the smile. 3 days. That's all it had been since Dad's funeral. I hadn't slept properly since then, hadn't eaten much either. Everything still felt surreal. William Foster, founder of this very bank, gone at 71. The man who built Prosperity Financial from a single branch in 1987 to an empire worth billions. And where was Victoria during the funeral? "Important client meeting in Tokyo," she'd texted. Not even a phone call. Not even flowers, just a 2-line text and radio silence. I rubbed my eyes, feeling the exhaustion in my bones. The funeral arrangements, the cremation, the memorial service. I'd handled everything alone while she was presumably signing deals and counting her bonuses. "Ma'am? Ma'am, you can move up," someone said behind me. I shuffled forward, aware of how out of place I looked. The freelance graphic designer daughter. The disappointment. The one who didn't follow in Daddy's footsteps. Victoria loved reminding me about my unstable lifestyle choices. Last Christmas, she'd actually created a PowerPoint presentation about investment opportunities, complete with graphs showing how my freelance income was unsustainable compared to her six-figure salary plus bonuses. Madison still thinks she can make it as an artist, she'd told our aunts, using air quotes around artist. Meanwhile, some of us understand real responsibility. Real responsibility. Like she'd shown Annie when Dad was dying. I was the one who spent 3 months driving him to chemotherapy. I was the one who held his hand when the doctors said there was nothing more they could do. I was the one who heard his last words. "Your sister. She's lost her way," he'd whispered that final night. "The money. It changed her. Promise me. Promise me you'll stay who you are." I'd promised, even though I had no idea what he meant about Victoria being lost. Even though I was barely making ends meet with my design work. Even though everyone at family gatherings looked at me with that mixture of pity and confusion, how could William Foster's daughter be struggling? The line moved again, only 3 people ahead of me now. Through the conference room glass, I could see Victoria wrapping up her meeting. She stood shaking hands with the clients, that practiced smile never wavering. She hadn't even asked about Dad's will. Probably assumed she'd get everything. The successful daughter. The one who understood banking. The one who carried on the family legacy. Little did she know what Dad had planned. Little did any of us know, really. The lawyers had only called me yesterday, and even I was still processing what they'd told me. All I needed was $99. That's it. Mom's heart medication cost exactly $98 or $67 with her insurance copay. The pharmacy had called twice already this morning. "Mrs. Foster's prescription is ready. She's marked as urgent refill. Will someone be picking it up today?" My checking account had $1,847 in it, my last freelance payment from the nonprofit rebrand project, more than enough. But my ATM card was somewhere in the depths of the Chase Bank ATM on 5th Street, swallowed whole when I'd entered the wrong PIN 3 times. Grief does that to you, makes you forget numbers you've known for years. The replacement card would take 5 to 7 business days. The cheerful customer service rep on the phone had assured me it was expedited processing. But Mom needed her medication today, not next week. I'd tried everything else first. Online transfer to Mom's account? Her bank wasn't linked, would take 3 days to verify. Venmo? Mom didn't have it. Cash advance on my credit card? The only ATM that would do it was broken, which left me here, in Victoria's branch, about to do the one thing I'd sworn I'd never do. Interact with my sister at her work, her kingdom, her territory where she held all the power. "Next, please." 2 more people ahead of me. My phone buzzed. Another text from the pharmacy. I could feel my chest tightening. Mom had already stretched her pills, cutting them in half to make them last through the funeral chaos. She had maybe 1 day's worth left. The woman in front of me was arguing about overdraft fees. The teller looked stressed, kept glancing toward the manager's office. Victoria's office. CVS closed at 6. It was already past noon. After this, I'd need to drive across town in lunch hour traffic, find parking, wait in line at the pharmacy. Every minute counted. Mom had been so fragile since Dad died. They'd been married 43 years. Now she sat in that big empty house, taking her pills on schedule, pretending she was fine. But I'd seen her hands shake when she opened the medicine bottle this morning, down to her last 3 pills. "It's just a little heart condition," she always said. "Nothing serious." But the cardiologist had been clear. Missing doses could trigger arrhythmia. At her age, with her grief weakening her system, we couldn't take chances. I'd rather walk through fire than ask Victoria for help. The last time I'd asked her for anything, just to borrow her car when mine was in the shop, she'd lectured me for 40 minutes about personal responsibility and planning ahead. Then she'd said no anyway. But this wasn't about me. This was about Mom. The man in front of me finally moved. 1 person left. Through the glass, I saw Victoria emerging from the conference room escorting her clients toward the exit. She was laughing, touching one man's arm lightly, playing the perfect executive. She hadn't even called Mom since the funeral. Hadn't checked if she needed anything. Too busy with her important banking world to remember she had a family. "I can help you here," the teller called out. This was it. I walked to window 3, already feeling my stomach churning. Just $99 from my own account. How hard could it be? I was about to find out exactly how hard Victoria could make it. If you've ever been looked down on by family members who think they're better than you, hit that like button. I see you, and your worth isn't determined by your job title or bank account. And trust me, what happens next will make you believe in karma. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We're almost at 500K subscribers. Your support means everything. Now, let me tell you what happened when I finally reached that teller window. "Good afternoon. How can I help you?" The teller, whose name tag read Janet, gave me a practiced smile. "Hi, I need to withdraw $99 from my checking." I slid my driver's license across the counter. My ATM card was captured, and I'm waiting for a replacement. Janet typed something into her computer, frowned, typed again. "I see the account, Ms. Foster, but there's a note here. Let me just—" "One moment, please." She picked up her phone, dialed an extension. My chest tightened. Why did she need to call someone? "Yes, Ms. Foster is here. The account with the notation." "Yes, ma'am." Janet hung up and gave me an apologetic look. "The branch manager will be right out." My blood turned cold. Of course. Of course Victoria had flagged my account. Of course she'd want to be notified if I ever came in. The conference room door opened. Victoria emerged, her heels clicking against the marble like a countdown. Every head in the bank turned to watch her. She had that effect on people, commanding, authoritative, intimidating. She saw me and her expression shifted from professional warmth to something else. Disgust? Disappointment? Both? "Madison," not even a hello. "What are you doing here?" "I need to make a withdrawal. My card was—" "Janet, I'll handle this personally." Victoria's voice carried across the entire floor. Several customers looked up from their phones. "Would you come with me, Madison? I just need $99 from my account. Can we just—" "Now, please." It wasn't a request. Everyone was watching. The security guard had even taken a step closer, as if I was some kind of threat. Victoria didn't lead me to her office. Instead, she stopped right there in the middle of the bank floor, where everyone could hear. "Still playing with computers instead of getting a real job?" Her voice was loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. "It's called graphic design, and I have clients." "Clients." She laughed, that sharp sound I remembered from childhood. "Is that what we're calling them now? How's that working out for you? Obviously not well if you're here begging for pocket change." My face burned. A woman at the next window was openly staring. "I'm not begging, it's my money." $99? Victoria announced it like it was the punchline to a joke. "You came to my branch for $99? Don't you have a credit card? Or did they cancel that too?" "Victoria, please. Mom needs her medication." "Mom has plenty of money. Dad left her well provided for." She examined her manicured nails. "Unless you've been taking advantage of her grief, asking her for money?" "What? No, I just need—" "You know what your problem is, Madison? You never grew up. Still living in that studio apartment, still pretending you're an artist, still expecting everyone else to solve your problems." The bank had gone completely quiet. Even the classical music seemed softer. Everyone was watching, listening, judging. "Can we please just process the withdrawal?" My voice came out smaller than I intended. "Janet, check her account again. Make sure there are no holds, no pending overdrafts. We have to be careful with these irregular requests." Then she said something unforgivable. Something that would echo in that marble lobby forever. My phone buzzed. The name on the screen made my heart skip. Robert Thornton, ESQ. Victoria noticed me checking it. "Oh, are your artist friends calling? Or wait, let me guess. Another client canceling? I let it ring one more time before answering. Hello, Mr. Thornton. Ms. Foster, I'm about 10 minutes away. Are you at the Prosperity Financial Branch as we discussed? Yes, I'm here. Excellent. We have the documents ready. The other parties are en route as well. Victoria's smile faltered for just a second. Who's Mr. Thornton? Don't tell me you're being sued. Though honestly, that would explain why you need exactly $99. I ended the call without answering her. Something in my expression must have changed because Victoria took a small step back. What kind of lawyer games are you playing, Madison? No games. I kept my voice steady. Just handling Dad's arrangements. Dad's arrangements? Her voice pitched higher. What arrangements? The will reading isn't until next month. Some things couldn't wait. Janet looked between us nervously. The security guard had moved even closer. Several customers had their phones out, not calling, just holding them in that way people do when they might start recording. What did you do? Victoria's professional mask was cracking. Madison, what did you do? I didn't do anything. Dad did. That's impossible. I would know if… She stopped herself, realizing she was about to admit something. I mean, as branch manager, I'm informed of any significant account changes involving family members. My phone buzzed again. A text this time. Pulling into parking lot, Harrison and Chen are with me. Harrison. As in CEO Harrison. Why would CEO Harrison be coming here? Victoria's voice had lost its commanding tone. I didn't answer. Let her wonder. An elderly employee, Mr. Daniels from the mortgage department, had been watching from his desk. He stood up slowly, adjusting his glasses, and walked over. Excuse me, he said quietly, looking at me with recognition dawning on his face. Aren't you William Foster's daughter, the one who designed the memorial program? Yes. Beautiful work. Your father would have been proud. He paused, studying my face more carefully. You have his eyes. He used to talk about you all the time, said you inherited his creative vision. Victoria's jaw tightened. Mr. Daniels, please return to your desk. But Mr. Daniels wasn't done. He showed me your portfolio once. The rebrand you did for the children's hospital? Brilliant. He kept the newspaper clipping in his office. He did? My voice cracked slightly. Oh yes. Had it framed and everything. Mr. Daniels glanced at Victoria. Strange. I never saw any pictures of… Well, anyway. My condolences again. He walked away, leaving a thick silence. Victoria's face had gone from red to pale. What's in Dad's will, Madison? You'll find out soon enough. Tell me now. Her professional composure was completely gone. I have a right to know. I'm the one who worked with him. I'm the one who understood his vision. I'm the one who missed his funeral. The words hung between us like a blade. Someone near the entrance said, Is that Mr. Harrison's Tesla? Victoria spun toward the windows. 3 men in expensive suits were walking toward the entrance. And yes, one of them was definitely CEO Harrison. We don't serve beggars here. Victoria said it loud enough for the entire bank to hear. The words echoed off the marble walls, seemed to hang in the air like a neon sign. Every single person in that bank turned to stare. A teenager in the corner raised his phone, definitely recording now. The mother with the twins pulled them closer, as if poverty might be contagious. Security, Victoria called out, her voice carrying that authority that made people obey without thinking. Please escort this person out. She's creating a disturbance. I'm not creating anything. I stood my ground. I'm a customer trying to access my account. You're harassing staff and making other customers uncomfortable. Victoria turned to the growing audience. I apologize for this disruption. We maintain certain standards at this branch. The security guard, a young guy named Marcus who looked deeply uncomfortable, approached slowly. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to… Ask her for her account number, I said calmly. Ask her to pull up my account. Check the balance. Don't enable her, Marcus. Victoria's voice was ice. She's obviously having some kind of breakdown. Grief can do that to people. Grief? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want to talk about grief? You didn't even come to Dad's funeral. I had obligations. You had a choice. And you chose this. I gestured around the bank. You chose money over family, every single time. The entrance doors swooshed open. 3 men in dark suits entered, their presence immediately changing the atmosphere. CEO Harrison, tall and silver-haired, scanned the lobby until his eyes found us. That's when the doors opened again. I'm not leaving. I planted my feet, keeping my voice steady despite the dozens of eyes on me. My account number is 4847-2901-8834. There's $1,847 in it. I need 99. Janet nervously typed the numbers. Her eyes widened at the screen. The account is... It's valid, Ms. Foster. The funds are available. Then process my withdrawal. Victoria stepped between me and the teller window. You're embarrassing yourself, and more importantly, you're embarrassing this institution. Dad would be mortified. Dad's not here to be mortified, is he? I met her gaze steadily. Because you were too busy to say goodbye. How dare you? Mr. Harrison, I called out, recognizing the CEO from the photos in the bank's annual report. I believe you're expecting me? Harrison's eyebrows rose. He walked over, his expensive shoes clicking against the marble. Ms. Foster? Madison Foster? Yes. Victoria's face went white. You know her? We've been in communication through Mr. Thornton's office. Harrison's tone was carefully neutral, but I caught him glancing at Victoria with something like concern. Is there a problem here? No problem, I said. Just trying to withdraw $99 from my account. But apparently that makes me a beggar who needs to be escorted out by security. The teenager with the phone moved closer, definitely getting all of this. 2 other customers had their phones out now, too. Robert Thornton entered then, carrying a leather briefcase that looked like it cost more than my car. Behind him, another man I didn't recognize, probably Chen from the legal department. Ms. Foster, Thornton said formally, shall we proceed? Can you imagine being treated like this by your own family, your own sister? If this story resonates with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear that their worth isn't determined by their bank balance. And if you're new here, hit that notification bell so you don't miss what happens when those lawyers reveal why they're really here. Trust me, Victoria's reaction is something you won't want to miss. The documents in that briefcase are about to change everything. Now here comes the moment that shocked everyone in that bank. Robert Thornton set his leather briefcase on the nearest desk with a decisive thud. The sound seemed to echo through the now silent bank. Ms. Foster, he said, his voice carrying the authority of someone who'd argued cases in federal court. I have the documents ready for immediate execution. Victoria's voice cracked. What documents? What is this about? Thornton looked at her with professional detachment. Ms. Victoria Foster, I presume? I'm Robert Thornton, senior partner at Thornton, Kravitz and Associates. We've been handling William Foster's estate. The will reading isn't until... The will was read 3 days ago, per your father's explicit instructions, immediately following his funeral. Thornton pulled out a folder embossed with gold lettering. You were notified via certified mail. I was in Tokyo. The letter was signed for at your residence by someone named Derek Chen. Your assistant, I believe? Victoria's assistant, who was standing near the coffee station, went rigid. Several employees exchanged knowing looks. As for why we're here today, Thornton continued, opening the folder, there are certain time-sensitive matters that require immediate attention. Mr. Harrison, as CEO, needs to be present for this. Harrison stepped forward. I've reviewed the preliminary documents. Everything appears to be in order. What's in order? Victoria's voice was rising. What are you talking about? Thornton pulled out a document with an official seal. The Prosperity Financial logo was clearly visible at the top. This is the certificate of ownership transfer for the majority shares of Prosperity Financial Holdings. The bank seemed to hold its breath. Effective immediately, Thornton announced. Ms. Madison Foster is the majority shareholder of Prosperity Financial. 68% of all shares, Thornton continued, his voice cutting through the shocked silence, with a current market valuation of $2.8 billion. Someone dropped a coffee cup. The crash seemed to break the spell, and suddenly everyone was talking at once. That's impossible! Victoria's face had gone from pale to gray. Dad wouldn't. William Foster was the founding shareholder, Harrison interrupted. His CEO composure intact, but clearly shaken. He maintained majority ownership even after we went public. It was unusual, but he insisted. He built this bank from nothing, I said quietly. One branch in 1987, now 43 branches across 3 states. Thornton pulled out another document. Mr. Foster's instructions were very specific. Quote, "My daughter Madison embodies the values I built this institution upon. She understands that money is a tool, not a master. She will guide Prosperity Financial back to its founding principles." Victoria's legs seemed to give out. She grabbed the edge of a desk. "But I'm the one who worked here. I'm the one who understood banking." "You understood profit," Thornton said. "Your father's notes indicate you'd lost sight of the Community First mission." The teenager with the phone whistled low. Other customers were openly gaping. Janet the teller looked like she might faint. "There's more," Harrison said reluctantly. "As majority shareholder, Ms. Madison Foster has full authority over all personnel decisions, including branch management." Victoria's eyes went wide with horror. "You can't, Madison, you can't." But that wasn't even the worst part for Victoria. Thornton was pulling out yet another document, this one with red flags all over it. Victoria's knees hit the marble floor with a sharp crack that made everyone wince. "Please," she gasped, reaching for my worn jeans, the same jeans she'd sneered at minutes ago. "Madison, please, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean any of it." The entire bank watched in stunned silence. The branch manager, the woman who'd commanded this space like a queen, was on her knees begging. "Get up," I said quietly. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was stressed. The Tokyo deal fell through. I haven't been sleeping." "Victoria, get up. You're making a scene. Please don't fire me. This job is everything. My mortgage, my car payments, my—" She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. "I'll do anything." Marcus, the security guard, looked away. Janet covered her mouth with her hand. The mother with the twins ushered them toward the exit, but everyone else stayed, transfixed. "Ms. Foster," Harrison said carefully, addressing me with a deference that felt surreal. "As majority shareholder, you have the authority to make any personnel changes effective immediately." "I know." I looked down at my sister, this woman who'd tormented me for years, who'd missed our father's funeral for a deal that apparently failed anyway. "Victoria, please stand up." She struggled to her feet, her designer heels slipping on the polished floor. Her perfect suit was wrinkled, her carefully styled hair disheveled. "There's something else," Thornton said, pulling out that red flag document. "Mr. Foster requested a full forensic audit of this branch to be initiated immediately upon transfer of ownership." Victoria's tears stopped. Her face went from gray to white to almost green. "An audit?" she whispered. "Why would he—" "He had concerns," Thornton said simply. "Significant concerns." "Mr. Harrison," I said, my voice carrying across the silent bank, "I want a full forensic audit of this branch, starting immediately." "Madison, wait," Victoria started. "Ms. Foster," I corrected her. "In this building, you'll address me professionally." The shift in power was palpable. Every employee, every customer could feel it. "Mr. Thornton, do we have auditors on standby?" "Deloitte has a team ready. They can be here within the hour." "Good," Victoria, you're suspended effective immediately pending the results of the audit. You can't. I can, and I am. I turned to Harrison. Please have security collect her keys, company phone, and access badges. Victoria looked like she'd been slapped. In front of everyone? Like when you called me a beggar in front of everyone? I kept my tone professional, calm. Marcus, please escort Miss Foster to her office to collect her personal items. Nothing else. This is revenge, Victoria shrieked. You're destroying me because I'm following standard protocol for a financial audit. You know this, Victoria. You've implemented it yourself 3 times with other employees. Harrison nodded. She's correct. This is textbook procedure. I pulled out my phone and dialed. Mr. Harrison, I assume you have a direct line to the head of compliance? Of course. Good. I want every transaction, every account, every decision Victoria has made in the last 5 years reviewed. Victoria swayed on her feet. 5 years? Dad started noticing discrepancies 5 years ago, I said. He documented everything. The crowd gasped. Someone whispered, embezzlement? That's to be determined, I said carefully. But we will find out. I walked back to Janet's teller window. The entire bank watched as I placed my driver's license on the counter. I still need to withdraw $99, please. Janet's hands shook as she processed the transaction. Of course, Miss Foster. Would you like that in 20s? Whatever's convenient. She counted out 4 20s, a 10, a 5, and 4 ones with the kind of precision usually reserved for million-dollar transactions. The cash felt surreal in my hands. All this for $99. Thank you, Janet. I folded the bills carefully into my wallet. You've been very professional. Harrison cleared his throat. Ms. Foster, we should discuss the transition. There are immediate decisions that need— Monday, I said. We'll meet Monday. Today, I need to get my mother's medication. I looked around the bank, at all the faces staring at me. Some with awe, some with fear, some with a kind of hungry curiosity. I want all staff to know that no one else's job is in jeopardy. This audit concerns only transactions authorized at the management level. I paused. However, if anyone has information about irregularities, there will be an anonymous reporting system set up by end of day. 3 employees immediately looked at each other. One mouthed, finally. Mr. Thornton, please send the ownership documents to all board members. Schedule an emergency meeting for Monday morning. Already done. They're awaiting your availability. I started walking toward the exit, then stopped. Oh, and Victoria? That client meeting in Tokyo you missed Dad's funeral for? Harrison just told me it fell through anyway. The sound she made was barely human. The forensic audit results came back in 48 hours. Even Deloitte seemed shocked by what they found. $3.2 million. That's how much Victoria had siphoned over 5 years through fake vendor accounts, inflated expense reports, and phantom consulting fees. The scheme was elaborate: shell companies, forged signatures, even a fake charity that existed only on paper. It's systematic fraud, the lead auditor told me in the boardroom that Thursday. Frankly, Ms. Foster, I'm amazed she wasn't caught sooner. My father knew, I said quietly. He was gathering evidence. He just ran out of time. The FBI arrived that afternoon. Victoria was arrested at her condo in front of her neighbors. The local news had a field day. Bank manager arrested for million-dollar fraud made every headline. But the investigation didn't stop with Victoria. 3 other employees were implicated. Her assistant Derek Chen, who'd been destroying mail and documents, a loan officer who'd been approving fraudulent applications, and surprisingly, the head of HR who'd been covering up complaints against Victoria for years. Your father tried to report his suspicions internally, Harrison told me later. HR buried every complaint. The branch was in chaos, but also relieved? Janet told me employees had been terrified of Victoria for years. She would threaten our jobs if we questioned anything, Janet said. We knew something was wrong, but who could we tell? She was the manager. The news spread through the banking community like wildfire. My phone didn't stop ringing. Reporters, board members, other branch managers all wanting to know what would happen next. But I had one more stop to make first. Mom was sitting in her favorite chair when I got home that evening, her pills safely refilled and organized in her weekly container. "I saw the news," she said quietly, "about Victoria." "I'm sorry, Mom, I know this must be—" "Your father knew." She pulled out a letter from the side table. "He left this for me to give you after everything was revealed." I recognized Dad's handwriting immediately. My hands trembled as I opened it. "My dearest Madison," it read. "If you're reading this, then you've discovered the truth about Victoria and the bank. I'm sorry I couldn't handle this myself. The cancer came too fast. But I knew you would do what needed to be done. You have the strength Victoria never had. The strength to choose what's right over what's profitable. The bank needs you, not because you understand numbers, but because you understand people. Victoria lost her way chasing money. Don't let her path become yours. Use this wealth wisely. P.S. Your mother needs her medication. Take care of her for me." I was crying by the end. "He suspected for years," Mom said. "Started documenting everything when he got sick. He said Victoria had become someone he didn't recognize. Why didn't he stop her sooner? He hoped she would come forward herself. Even at the end, he hoped." Mom touched my hand. "But he knew you would handle it properly, legally, without malice." 3 customers from the bank had sent me messages, apologizing for not speaking up when Victoria humiliated me. One included a video she'd recorded of the entire incident. "Your father would be proud," Mom said. "You stood up for yourself without becoming like her." I could have pressed for the maximum sentence. The federal prosecutor said Victoria faced up to 20 years for fraud of this magnitude. But I asked for leniency in my victim impact statement. "She's still my sister," I told the judge. "I want her to make restitution and get help, not rot in prison." Victoria got 5 years, with possibility of parole in 2. She has to repay every penny, plus interest. The other employees got lesser sentences, mostly probation and fines. The day after sentencing, Victoria's lawyer delivered a letter from her. "Madison, I don't expect forgiveness. I lost myself somewhere along the way. Dad tried to warn me, but I was too arrogant to listen. Too obsessed with being successful. I forgot that success isn't about how much you have, but about how you treat people. You were right to stop me. I'm sorry it took losing everything to see what I had become. Maybe someday, when I've earned it, we can be sisters again." Victoria. I set new policies at the bank. Mandatory ethics training, anonymous reporting systems, regular audits, and a new mission statement that put community first, profit second. "Your father's vision," Harrison said, approving the changes. "He'd be thrilled." I kept my freelance business. The bank board was confused. Why would their majority shareholder work side jobs? "Because I'm not my sister," I told them. "I don't need to prove my worth through a title or a salary. I know who I am." The $99? I framed the withdrawal slip and hung it in my office, a reminder that even the smallest injustice deserves to be challenged. 6 months later, Prosperity Financial was thriving under new leadership. We'd returned to Dad's original vision, community banking that actually served the community. Our customer satisfaction scores hit record highs. I still wear my old jeans to board meetings sometimes. It makes some members uncomfortable, but I don't care. Clothes don't determine competence. The branch where it all happened? Completely transformed. Janet is now the manager. She earned it through dedication and integrity. Marcus, the security guard, is studying for his Series 7 license with the bank's support. Even Mr. Daniels came out of semi-retirement to help train new employees on ethical banking. I use my dividend income strategically. Half goes to Mom's care and maintaining Dad's legacy. The other half? I created the William Foster Foundation for Financial Literacy, providing free education to underserved communities. Victoria writes from prison occasionally. She's taking accounting courses, legitimately this time. She says she wants to teach business ethics when she gets out. "The irony isn't lost on me," she wrote. I visit her once a month. We're working on rebuilding, slowly. She's different now, humbled, genuine in a way she never was before. Maybe losing everything was what she needed to find herself. Money doesn't define worth, I told her during our last visit. Character does. I know that now, she said. I just wish I'd learned it sooner. You learned it when you needed to, I replied. That's all any of us can do. The bank? It's not just surviving, it's setting new standards for ethical banking. Turns out, treating people with respect is good business. Who knew that asking for $99 would change everything? Thank you so much for watching my story. If you've ever been underestimated by someone who later regretted it, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. What would you have done in my situation? And remember, your worth isn't determined by your bank account, your job title, or what others think of you. It's determined by how you treat people and stay true to your values. If this story touched you, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to remember their worth. Until next time, stay strong and never let anyone dim your light.